Hello once again, everybody. Wildman Wes here, and welcome to another edition of Worst State of Movies. Pearl Harbor, that was quite a endurance trial, but now we're going to go back into the mainland of the United States and see what movie we have next. Good old Idaho, home of Samwise Gamgee's favorite food, potatoes. But I digress on that. Today, we've got a horror film. Shocktoberfest is getting closer by the weeks, folks, and as much as I tried to save a lot of these for the 80s Rewind, this movie today from Idaho in 1983 had to be on this list, so I had to add something else, because this was originally on my list for Shocktoberfest this year, but now you get the best of both worlds. You get another horror movie in a few weeks. Today we're going to be talking about the 1983 horror film The Being, otherwise known as the Pottsville Horror. In this movie, there are people going missing, and nobody understands the phenomenon of missing people. This has been going on for decades when it comes to films. Missing people happened long before the 80s, folks. And this detective is trying to figure out why people are going missing. One doctor says, oh, it's because the radiation in the water, everybody's going mad, everybody's changing. Well, unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case. There is a being, an entity that is abducting people, mimicking them, turning into them, and eventually dispatching everyone around. While this detective finally figures out how it's happening, the best way how he destroys this being is sulfuric acid and an axe. Yeah, I'm saving you the trouble on this one. This movie was slightly entertaining, but at the same time, very basic. This is one, I'm gonna get heat for this one too, because there are fans out there that love this movie. However, for me, the Being just felt like a basic bitch horror film. And not just that, the concept of this mimicking and whatnot, isn't it just me, or didn't John Carpenter make a remake of a movie before this in 1982 off of The Thing from Another World, or John Carpenter's The Thing? This is very much a carbon copy film. And there are some movies that can be carbon copied that you can appreciate them for what they're trying to do. Maybe it's an homage, maybe it's a parody. In this case, this was just oofa. And what makes me even more mad about that is that Marianne Gordon, Rex Coltrane, Ruth Buzzy, Martin Landau, and Jose Ferrer, some of the actors and actresses of who's who from the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, they were in this movie. And they actually had, Ruth Buzzy has a really great part in this, just being a little bit quirky, how she normally is. Of course, she wasn't hitting anybody with a purse this time, but at the same time, she did a great performance. But the story was just, not enough alcoholic beverages could help me get invested into this movie. However, there are some funny moments. I will say, at one point, the Being goes to a drive-in and starts wreaking chaos, and there's references of horror movies at the drive-in, like there's a reference to Halloween, there's a reference to The Blob, there's a reference to Evil Dead of all movies, and that was kind of cool. But references can only go so far. Just like me, I have to actually think up opinions and talk about things without making references on these reviews. It's very difficult, I assure you. This is definitely one of those phone-in reviews because I did watch the entire movie, but my attention span was draining. And no, it wasn't just because of some of the reviews that I filmed for What's Your Poison right before I watched the movie. No. I actually still had enough endurance to watch the movie, and it was about 9 o'clock at night, so I was still able to be awake. And unfortunately, I started drifting. And I did finish the film, as I said. However, rewatchability for this, sorry not sorry, The Being, you you are the worst movie in the state of Idaho. Well, we hope you enjoyed this short review for once. If you've seen the movie and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up, and if not, if there's some things that you actually liked that I might have missed or that I didn't care for, leave it in the comment section below. I'm interested to see how people feel about certain movies and how it affected them as they've grown up, especially in the horror movie genre, especially for that, because with Shocktoberfest coming up, I watch a lot of horror movies, and I have to research a lot, and I have to really delve in, and sometimes delving into it, I delve into the pits of insanity, and I want to see your insanity too, because crazy minds think alike, right? Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, push that little red button and ring the bell for instant notifications. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we will see you next time on Worst State of Movies. Take care.
It's the worst state